Thanks for listening to our latest In the Neighborhood segment, where we explore where to eat, drink, and shop near you.
Welcome back to the Simply Authentic Podcast. I'm Angie Mullings.
And I'm Tanya Murfin. Well, what are we here for today, Angie?
We're doing another In the Neighborhood. I love these segments.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
If we could only do this every week.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because we get to get out in the community and tell you guys what's great about everything, the places that we go. So, as a kind of a follow-up to this week's episode with Kristen Hazeltine with Show Me Christian County.
Yes.
We decided to go down to Christian County, not just Ozark, not just Nixa, but kind of cover both towns and drive around and see what was new and what's happening, what's shaking.
So we started at the workshop in Ozark, and that's part of the Finley Farms little
Campus.
Experience, that you get. And so Angie had some tea there. We had a meeting there. We ran into one of our friends there, Heather Malachowski, that's been on the podcast before.
Yes.
That's a really great place to go work. There's a lot of people in there working every time you go on their computer or having a meeting with somebody.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a place in Christian County to go have that morning meeting, try out the workshop. It's really great.
Yeah, and they do have some gluten options, by the way. I've gotten a couple of things there that were gluten-friendly, so that's always great.
Okay, so we walked out of there. It was a nice day, and we walked through the gardens. And the Mill, at the Mill restaurant in the Garrison, they're farm-to-table restaurants, and they grow a lot of their food there.
Yeah.
And as we walked through, I said to Angie, walking through a fresh garden makes me salivate because it's so beautiful. And you and I both discussed and know the hard work that goes into having a garden, number one, but a beautiful, gigantic garden, number two.
Yeah.
So if you've never been down there to see that garden, and you can just walk through and stroll through, they're out there working on it. It's beautiful.
It really is, especially this time of year, right, when everything's in bloom and thinking about fresh veggies, and they're going to, like you said, use those in their restaurants. So just a great place to go and stroll. It's great to go have a meal and then take your time walking around the grounds, because from there we walked down to the or stumbled one one way or the other.
So I cannot tell this story because I can't stop laughing about it. But I about broke my neck and killed myself on this walk because I twisted my ankle. And Angie tried to save me, but we were both just left to watch me in a very big stumble.
Yeah.
Try not to break my neck.
Really thought she was going to face plant. She didn't. She didn't even skin her hand.
Fall.
She didn't. Yeah.
I'm like a cat.
So it's really not dangerous to walk around there.
No,
only if you've got on the wrong shoes.
Right. And you're not paying attention and your foot slides off the sidewalk. That's what will happen to you.
Yeah.
I'm sure that someone is looking at that footage and laughing really hard.
Exactly.
So we walked down to the Mill, and then we walked across the bridge, and that, I'm sure you've seen pictures of that, but literally I could go there every week and just stand there in awe of the water rushing below you, falling over the little dam from the bridge that connects to the Ozark Park. I mean, it's an unbelievable, picturesque experience. It really is.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Yeah.
So make sure you do that. And then we walked across the bridge, and what do we find over there?
The chapel.
Yeah. Johnny Morris's experience includes weddings now, and I happen to know somebody that's going to have a wedding next year there. And the chapel is just beautiful, sits with the backdrop looking at the river. It's gorgeous.
It's great. The ambiance there in any of the restaurants, any place that you go there is just phenomenal.
It is.
Fresh food. So you should definitely go and check it out.
Yes. And one last perk is on Thursdays, and I believe this Thursday it's starting. They have a farmer's market. Yeah. They're up by the workshop in that parking lot, and it's in the afternoon. It used to be like 3 to 7, something in that time frame. So make sure you look that up. I'm sure that Finley Farms and the Mill probably advertise that farmer's market.
I'll try to put that in the show notes too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we jumped in the car and we drove through Ozark, kind of meandered around a little bit, drove through downtown Ozark. Of course, the courthouse sits on the square, and there's, the Ozark Square kind of demands its own presence because it's been there for so long, right?
And just had some renovations.
It did.
Different roadways and some landscaping around the roadway. So it's really, Americana.
Yeah.
And just across from the square is one of my favorite places, Spring Creek Tea Room.
Yeah.
They have the most phenomenal chicken salad if you haven't been there. And then their desserts. I can't eat very many of them, but because they don't have gluten-free.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry for you.
I know.
The reason I go there is for the dessert. And yes, I love the chicken salad too, but I always get a piece of cake or pie just amazing desserts.
And they always ask you when you first sit down, do you want to order dessert? Because it's gone so fast.
It is. You got to know when
Yeah.
you sit down that before you even order your meal.
Yes, exactly.
So, and the square, still has eateries and boutiques, and there's actually a couple of event spaces down there. So if
Yeah.
you're looking for probably a small to medium size event space,
Yeah.
there's a couple choices down there now that you should check out probably.
Yeah.
So we went after kind of perusing the square or cruising the square. We drove kind of to the the southern side, of Ozark. And there was a new neighborhood that we happened to drive through. What was that, Andy?
Valley Ridge Estates.
Yes,
is the new
and that
neighborhood.
is located over behind Walmart. And it's a bustle-built subdivision. And it looks like their pricing is starting at $310. So there will be a lot of new homes in that subdivision going up this summer. So that's something to pay attention to if you're looking for new homes.
Right, including some basement homes. They
That's
do have
right.
some basement lots out there. So
Look like crawl space and basements. So
Yeah.
then we drove back through Ozark and then ended up heading to Nixa after that. And we passed by the 14 Mill Market, and we were reminded of all the eateries in there, and they've switched some of them out.
Yeah.
So they've been open now, I believe, longer than a year because we interviewed them last year and on the podcast. They were one of our first guests, and they have had a couple of their vendors go out, and they've got new ones in there. So if you haven't been there recently, stop in there and check out all their food choices. There's so much to choose from. And then on the weekends, I know they have live music and they have different activities going on, and they have really good social media. So that if you're looking for what's going on down there, you can find all of the happenings in a calendar on socials.
Right. And then we ended up having lunch at Reed Spring Pizza, which is where Morning Day used to be. If you're familiar, they're on the corner on Main Street. And they obviously have a location. They've had a location in Reed Springs many years, and it's people know if you say Reed Springs Pizza, they know, and it's got a reputation for being very good, and it was very good.
It was delicious.
Yeah.
Highly recommend you going and trying that out. They have a lot of specialty pizzas on their menu, and it was wonderful.
The menu's pretty expansive.
Yes.
They've got calzones and sandwiches and salads and all that. They have cauliflower crust pizza, so it's gluten-free. They have a gluten-free option, and that's always nice. So,
especially for you.
for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that wrapped up our Christian County tour. We hope that you will make it down to Christian County sometime this summer and check out all the offerings. And of course, there's all kinds of nice parks that you can hit with grandkids or for walking trails and that sort of thing. So
Lots of nice outside seating. 14 Mill Market has outside seating.
Yes.
4x4 Brewery. Lots of outside places to go and spend an afternoon and with the family or friends, whatever.
Exactly. I love those options.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up this In the Neighborhood. So we hope that you'll go check out Christian County and everything it has to offer, and we will catch you guys next time.
Thanks. Thanks for listening to this episode of In the Neighborhood.
You never know, we might be in your neighborhood next.